the next point. We should ensure whatever we see is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Good day, learners. You are welcome to another edition of the e-learning. I am your biology teacher, Mariam Ahmed Gidado. We are here for biology lesson. And our topic for today is going to be dry fruits. But before we go into the lesson, if you can recall, we started with classification of fruit, where we classified fruit into about 4 groups. We said we have simple, aggregate, and multiple fruits. We also have true and false fruit. We also have fleshy and dry fruit. But because of time factor, in our last lesson, we were not able to finish. We stopped in dry fruits. So for today, we are going to continue from where we stopped in the last lesson. That is, today we are going to look at dry fruits. When we say dry fruit, what do we mean by dry fruits? When we say dry, we mean anything that the moisture content has been taken away or has been absorbed. Anything that doesn't have any water in it or doesn't have any moisture content in it, we term that thing to be a dry. So when we say dry fruits, we mean fruits that do not have water content in them. Just like in fleshy fruits, they have water content. If you have a fresh mango, you are eating the mango, definitely you will notice some amount of moisture in that mango. That is not a dry fruit, that is a fleshy fruit. But when we talk of dry fruits, we mean those that the content has been absorbed. So we term them dry fruit. So by definition, a dry fruit is a fruit that the pericarp become dry, hard, and woody. When we say pericarp, we mean the outer covering of the fruit. And pericarp, we have 3 layers. The first layer is the epicarp, that's the outer layer. There is another layer after the epicarp, which is called the mesocarp. Then there is the endocarp. So these 3 parts make up the pericarp. So the pericarp of dry fruit always become dry, hard, and woody or fibrous, depending on the type of fruits. There are many types of dry fruits, depending on whether the pericarp splits when it is ripe or it doesn't split when it is ripe. So we have 2 types. We have dry dehiscent fruit and we have dry indehiscent fruit. So we are going to take it one after the other. What is a dry fruit? A dry fruit is that fruit that splits open. Dry dehiscent. It splits open to release the seed when it is ripe. I will take it again. A dry fruit is that fruit that when it is ripe, it splits open along the slits, leaving the fruit walls on the plant. So we have about 4 types of dry dehiscent fruits. These 4 types of dehiscent fruits are legumes, we have follicle, we have capsule, and we have schizocarp. I'll take it again. 4 types of dry dehiscent fruits. We have legumes, we have follicle, we have capsule, and we have schizocarp. So let's look at what are these 4 types of dry dehiscent fruits. Number 1, let's start with legume. When we say a dry fruit is a legume, what does that mean? It is a simple fruit from the superior monocarpous ovary. By now, my students, I know you have understood what a superior monocarpous ovary, because we have done that. A superior ovary, an ovary on top. Monocarpous, 1 ovary. So when a fruit has a superior monocarpous ovary, that fruit is a legume. When the fruit is ripe, the pericarp dehisces longitudinally along both sides of the seeds inside it. That is, these fruits, they have marginal placentation. An example is flamboyant fruit. Flamboyant plant is that tree that is very common to our environment. It has a very bright red colored flower. It is a very common flower that is being asked by WAEC. So that flamboyant, the fruit of the flamboyant has a marginal placentation. That is, the seeds are arranged along the margin. So when the fruit gets dry and when it is ripened, it opens or it splits along the slits and it exposes the seeds. That is what you mean by a legume. The beans family, my student, those of you that go to the farm to plant beans, when you plant beans, you go and harvest them before they split open. But if you allow it on the farm, it dries to the level that it opens. It will open along both sides of the beans and it will release the seeds. But we don't leave it in the farm to release the seed because we need the seeds. But the flamboyant, since it is not an edible, it doesn't have edible seeds, it is on the tree, it opens, release the seeds. And when the seed falls on a suitable soil, it germinates into a new seedling of flamboyant. So all these plants, flamboyant, pride of Barbados, the beans family, all of them are made out of the legumes under the dry dehiscent fruits. Those of you that are watching us, I have the diagram of the fruit of the flamboyant flower. Those of you that are listening, I have given an example. It is a very big tree with reddish flower. Those of you that are watching, the fruit is on the screen. Then we go to the next one. That is the follicle. A follicle is a simple fruit formed from a superior monocarpous pistil, just like the other one, superior monocarpous ovary. It dehiscizes or it splits along one side. The other one is split along both sides. There are two sides, the left and the right. Both of them will open. But in follicle, one side will open. An example is found in kola nut. I think we call it goro. So it's everywhere. When you see the fruit of kola nut, when it is ripened, it is dry. It splits on just one side. It will open, and then you will see the seeds of the kola inside it. So that is an example of a follicle. And we have silk cotton, milkweed. These ones, they are not very common, but the kola is a very common fruit, which I know all of you know. And then for those of you that are watching, we have a picture of the kola nut on the screen. It shows how the pericarp opens on one side, and you can see the seeds of the kola inside the pericarp. Then we go to the next one, that is the capsule. A capsule is a simple dehiscent fruit formed from a superior syncarpous pistil. The difference with this one, the difference between this one and the last two, those ones monocarpous ovary, but this one is syncarpous ovary. Many ovaries but fused together. We call that syncarpous. So when a fruit has a syncarpous superior ovary and it splits along many sides. Remember, the first one we said two sides. The second one we said is split on one side. But in capsule, it splits along many sides. Example is the okra. All of you know the okra fruit. It is very common. It is our food. So when okra is fresh, you see it has so many lines. Those are what we call the slits. So when it is dry, when you leave an okra fruit on the tree of the okra, leave it until it dries, it ripens. You see that the okra will splint along those lines that are on the okra. That is along the slit. All of them will open. And when they open, you see the seed outside. So a small shake on the tree, it will release the seeds. And when they fall on the suitable soil, it can germinate into a new okra plant. That is what we mean by a capsule. Then the next one is schizocarp. A schizocarp is formed from an ovary made out of one carpel. The dry fruit has several seeds and break up into units, each enclosing seeds. This one, the fruit, when it gets dry, it has so many seeds inside, but the seeds, they are divided into units, each unit having one seed. So when it is dry, it also opens and it releases. The diagram of an example of schizocarp, that is cassia. Those of you that are watching, we have a diagram of the cassia fruit. So when it ripens, it opens and it releases the seed. So each seed is enclosed in a particular unit. So having discussed the 4 types of dehiscent, dry dehiscent fruit, let's now look at dry indehiscent. Dry indehiscent fruits. Dry indehiscent fruits are fruits which do not split open when matured or ripe, but usually fall to the ground where the pericarp eventually decays to release the seed. Just like mango, if you eat mango, when you throw away the seed doesn't open, or the hard endocarp doesn't open to release the seed. But with time, if it comes in contact with the soil, it decays before it can release the seed inside the endocarp. So that is what happened to dry fruit. Though mango is not part of dry indehiscent fruit. I'm just giving an example of how we throw mango seed but eventually germinate. So dry indehiscent, they do not split open to release the seed, just like the dry dehiscent. But automatically when they fall to the ground, they decay, the pericarp opens, then it can release the seed. Then when the seed comes in contact with suitable soil, it germinates to become a new plant. So we have about 5 types of dry indehiscent fruit. We have nuts, we have caryopsis, we have akin, we have cypsela, and we have samara. I will take it again. We have 5 groups of dry indehiscent fruit. We have nuts, we have caryopsis, we have akin, we have cypsela, and we have samara. So my student, let's take it one after the other. What is a nut? A nut is a simple fruit with hard woody pericarp. It develops from a superior bicarpous or polycarpous ovary and contains 1 seed chamber with only 1 seed. An example is the cashew nut. My student, cashew is very common to our environment. So the nut, not the fleshy part of the cashew, but the nut which you hold when you are eating the cashew fruit. We have the picture of the cashew. So what is up here, the place you hold when you are eating the cashew, that is the nut. It is a dry fruit and it doesn't open. No matter how dry or how ripe, it will not open to release what is inside the hard endocarp. But when you eat the cashew, you throw away the seed, definitely it will decay, then it will release the seed inside, which automatically germinates to become a new cashew plant. So that is what we mean by a nut. We have examples of nuts include even coconut, palm nut. They all have single seed in the compartment and they don't open. So then we look at the next one, that is caryopsis. Caryopsis are simple fruits from a single pistil with a single ovary. The pericarp and the seed coat are fused together to form a covering over the entire seed. Example of caryopsis are grains. We have common grains at home like the maize, the rice, the millet, guinea corn. These are all caryopsis, meaning they are fused together with the pericarp and the seed coat. So maize, those of you that go to the farm to plant maize, if you plant maize, no matter how long you leave it in the farm, the seeds do not get discharged from the cob and falls away. You have to do it yourself. Those of you watching, we have the diagram of the maize. This one is not dry, but if you leave it attached to the body of the plant, no matter how long it goes, the seed will not detach itself and fall on the ground. You have to do it yourself. So the seed coat is sort of attached to the pericarp. So these are examples of caryopsis. Then the next one is cypsela. Cypsela is a small true fruit develops from a superior monocarpous ovary and contains only 1 seed. At maturity, the corolla drops off and the hairy calyx become prominent and forms a parachute. Cypsela, these are plants that are commonly found in villages. When you are going to the farm, there are fruits that if you pass during the dry season, if you pass through them, when you reach home, you find some of them attached to your clothes. They have a hairy structure, which when you pass through, they can stick to your body, or they can stick to your clothes. When you come, you have to remove it. They spread out on top of the fruit and cause it to be easily buoyed on the air and carried from place to place. So that parachute or pappus, it is something, a wing-like structure that makes it to fly. An example is cotton. A cotton will be somewhere, yes. Let me just give you an example of cotton, which is very common. This one is tree ducks. But it's not very common in our environment. But tree ducks, when you pass through it, because of these hairy structures, it attaches itself to your body or to your cloth. Then when you go, you have to remove it. But cotton, when a cotton is dry somewhere, it opens, release the cotton. But the cotton flies. So I'm just trying to give you the structure of the cotton, which makes the cotton to fly on the air and reach wheresoever it is supposed to go. So that parachute structure is what is called the pappus, and the tree ducks also are. But that does not mean a cotton is a dry indehiscent. No, cotton does not fall on this group, but it has a parachute like this one. That is why I'm giving an example of cotton. But tree ducks is an example of that particular fruit. And the next on the classification is akin. Akin is a small simple fruit which contains only one seed. Akin develops from Apocarpus pistil. The pericarp is from the seed coat. Example of akin includes the strawberry and the sunflower seed. The sunflower seed and the strawberry seed are example of akin. We have a diagram of the seed of akin. No matter how dry and ripened it is, it doesn't open to release the seed. The seed are always attached to the pericarp of the fruit. Then the next one is samara. Samara is also a simple fruit in which the pericarp is extended to form one or more wing-like structure. It develops from a superior ovary. An example is the combretum or the African rose. Let's go to the diagram. We have the diagram. So it has the samara, all of them have a structure that looks like wing, which makes them to fly, and they are very light. That is why they can easily fly on the air. So when it is ripe, it detaches itself from the body of the plants, fly for some distance. Then when it falls there, the pericarp will now decay to release the seed so that it can germinate. So this wing-like structure is what makes it to travel or maybe to fly from the body of the plant to a particular place. So this is an example of samara. So with this, I think we have come to the end of fruit classification, which we started in the last lesson. With this dry fruit, we have completed our classification on fruits. So dry fruits, we have dry dehiscent and we have dry indehiscent. Dry dehiscent, we have legumes, follicles, capsule, and schizocarp. Then under dry indehiscent, we have nuts, we have Cypsela, we have samara, we have akin, and also caryopsis. But before I go, I would like to give you an assignment, and the assignment is going to be like this. Question 1A. Differentiate between dry dehiscent and dry indehiscent fruit. That's what's the difference between dry dehiscent and dry indehiscent. Then question 1B, write short notes on the following. 1, nuts. That is, what is a nut? Then what is a legume? What is caryopsis? What is follicle? And what is a Cypsela? I'll take it again. Differentiate between indehiscent and dehiscent dry fruit. Differentiate between them. Then write short note on the following. Nuts, legume, caryopsis, follicle, and Cypsela. So before we meet in the next class, I will be waiting for your answers, comment, observation, and others. you can contact these 2 books for your assignments as reference. We have Michael MC 2012 Essentials Biology for Senior Secondary Schools. Then we have another Sarojoni TR 2016 Modern Biology for Senior Secondary Schools. So when you contact these books, I'm sure you will be able to do your assignment very well. Thank you very much. My name is Mariam Ahmed Gidado. You can contact me on this number 070 31 58 60 58. I am Mariam Ahmed Gidado, your biology teacher. My number is 070 31 58 60 58. Please read your books and get prepared for your WAEC. Coronavirus is real. Stay at home and stay safe. Thank you very much.